name is Madeline Carter. I'm 18 years old. And the strange thing about the moment your future dies is that it almost never sounds dramatic when it begins. There's no music, no shattered glass, no warning echoing in your head, telling you this is it. This is the moment everything breaks. Sometimes it starts with something as small as a laugh. 3 hours ago at exactly 2:47 a.m., I became my father. And I didn't even realize it until it was already too late. 5 years ago, my life became a story people whispered about, not because I did anything, but because of what a simple 8th grade science project uncovered. DNA. That's all it was supposed to be. A project. A grade. Something small. Instead, it exposed that my father wasn't really my father, that the man who raised me, loved me, built his entire life around me, wasn't biologically mine. My real father? My uncle. My mom's brother-in-law. And just like that, everything shattered. My dad, Marcus Carter, didn't scream. Didn't throw things. Didn't collapse. He did something worse. He went quiet. And then he went to court. He sued everyone. My mom, my uncle, even his own parents. $287,000. That's what betrayal cost, apparently. And in return, he lost everything, including me. I spent 5 years hating him for that, for choosing revenge over family, for turning our lives into something cold and broken, for becoming someone I didn't recognize. And then tonight happened. His name was Ethan Brooks. We started dating on October 20th, sophomore year. I remember because he'd grabbed my pen during lunch and written it across my notebook in messy blue ink, M+E 10/20, with a crooked heart that looked more like a broken circle. I never erased it. I think part of me believed that if I kept it there, it would last forever. We were together for 2 years, 4 months, and 6 days. Yes, I counted. Every single one. That kind of love. Your first real love. It makes you obsessive like that. It makes you believe in forever, like it's something you can hold in your hands. I was saving to propose. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to. Because loving him felt like the only thing in my life that hadn't been touched by the past. I worked double shifts, skipped things, saved everything. $3,200. I was 2 months away from the ring, 2 months away from asking him to stay. Forever. And Ryan Mitchell knew all of it. Ryan, who I called my best friend. Ryan, who had been there when my world collapsed 5 years ago. Ryan, who sat on my bedroom floor while I cried about my father destroying our family. Ryan, who promised me I would never go through something like that again. "You're my sister," he used to say. "You'll always have me." I believed him. That was my first mistake. Saturday night, 2 nights ago. I was working late, got off at 1:30 a.m. I remember the exact time because I checked my phone in the parking lot before starting my car. Ethan had posted an Instagram story, 1:18 a.m. I almost didn't click it. Almost. Rachel's bedroom. I recognized it instantly. The pale cream walls, the vanity mirror by the window, the makeup bag left open on the desk. But that's not what made my stomach drop. It was the reflection. The TV screen was off, black. And in that black mirror, I saw him, Ethan, in Ryan's bed, wearing his shirt. The story disappeared 43 seconds later, but I had already taken a screenshot. I don't remember deciding to drive. I just did. Muscle memory. Shock moving my body for me. 1:54 a.m. I was standing outside Ryan's house. His parents were in Hawaii. I still had his spare key. I never gave it back. I guess part of me always believed I'd need it someday. Just not like this. The house was quiet, except for music upstairs. And laughter. His laugh. Ethan's laugh. I walked up slowly, each step heavier than the last. The door to Ryan's room was slightly open. Just enough. Just enough to see. I pushed it open, and everything inside me stopped. Rachel stood there, half-dressed. Ethan was wearing her oversized sweatshirt, kissing her like I had never existed, like the last 2 years had never happened, like I had never loved him. I didn't scream, didn't cry. I just stood there, watching, as the two people I trusted most destroyed me. Ethan saw me first, his face drained of color. "Madeline!" He scrambled for the blanket. Ryan turned. "Holy, Madeline, wait!" "How long?" My voice didn't sound like mine. It sounded empty. Ethan was already crying. "Madeline, please." "How long?" Silence. Heavy. Suffocating. Ryan looked at the floor. Ethan's voice broke. 6 months. 6 months. 182 days. While I was working double shifts. While I was saving for a ring. While I was planning a future. "Did you use my apartment?" I looked at Ryan. 2 months ago, when I gave you my key. He didn't answer. "Answer me." Yes. Something inside me cracked. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just quietly. Like something giving up. My bed. I laughed. It didn't sound right. The same bed where I told you I loved you for the first time. Ethan reached for me. I do love you. I pulled back. No. My voice steadier now. Colder. If you loved me, you wouldn't have done this. It was a mistake. A mistake? I let out a sharp breath. You made the same mistake every single day for 6 months? Ryan stepped forward. Madeline, please, let's just talk. You're my best friend. I looked at him. Really looked at him. And you did this to me. Aww. It's not like that. It is exactly like that. My chest tightened. My voice dropped. You're my brother. He's my boyfriend. And you betrayed me in the worst possible way. And then it hit me. Hard. Clear. Unavoidable. This is what my father felt. 5 years ago, when he found out about my mom, about my uncle, about the lies. This exact feeling. The burning, the humiliation, the overwhelming need to destroy everything in sight. I stepped back, shaking. I don't want to hear anything else. Yeah. Madeline, please, Ethan sobbed. We can fix this. No. I looked at him one last time. There is no we anymore. And then I walked away. I got in my car, closed the door, and for 5 full minutes, I couldn't breathe. Then I started the engine and drove to the one place I never thought I'd go again. My father's house. 3:27 a.m. The garage light was on. Of course it was. It always was. He was under the car when I walked in, like he had been every night for the past 5 years, avoiding the silence, avoiding the life he built after destroying everything else. He rolled out when he heard me, saw my face, and everything changed. Madeline? I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. Yeah. And then I broke. Ethan, Ryan, they've been... I couldn't even finish. His expression shifted, not to shock, not to confusion. Recognition. And that was worse, because it meant he understood. Exactly. He stood up, pulled me into his arms. The first real hug we'd had in 5 years. And I collapsed into it, crying so hard it felt like my chest might split open. 6 months, I gasped. They've been together for 6 months. He held me tighter, didn't say anything. Because he didn't have to. He already knew. And for the first time in 5 years, I finally understood him too. That was the moment everything changed. Not when I caught them. Not when they confessed. But when I realized I was standing exactly where he once stood. And I had a choice to make. My dad didn't let go of me right away. He just stood there, holding me like he was afraid that if he loosened his grip even a little, I might disappear again. 5 years. That's how long it had been since we'd touched like that. 5 years of silence, of walking past each other like strangers who happened to share a last name. And now here I was, shaking in his arms, crying over a betrayal that looked painfully familiar. When I finally pulled back, my face felt swollen, my chest hollowed out. He didn't ask 100 questions, didn't rush me. He just nodded towards the house. Come inside. The kitchen light was too bright. It always had been. Too honest. Too revealing. He made coffee, even though it was almost 4 in the morning, even though neither of us needed caffeine. It was just something to do, something normal to hold on to. We sat across from each other at the table, the same table where, 5 years ago, everything had fallen apart. The same table where I'd stopped looking at him. Tell me, he said quietly. So I did. Everything. The Instagram story. The reflection in the TV. Driving over. The door. The 6 months. My apartment. My bed. The ring. I told him things I hadn't even fully processed yet. And he didn't interrupt once. Didn't react in big ways. Didn't try to fix it. He just listened. Like he knew this part couldn't be rushed. When I finished, the silence felt different. Heavier. But clearer. What do you want to do? He asked. The answer came out before I could stop it. I want to destroy them. My voice was flat, calm in a way that scared me. I want everyone to know. I want them to feel exactly what I'm feeling right now. He stared into his coffee for a long moment, and when he spoke, his voice was softer than I expected. Yeah, he said. I remember that feeling. I let out a bitter laugh. Of course you do. Another silence. But this one wasn't awkward. It was shared. 5 years ago, he said slowly, when I found out about your mom, about Jason, about my parents knowing. He shook his head slightly. I wanted the same thing. Not just answers. Not just the truth. He looked up at me. I wanted them to hurt. I swallowed, because I understood that now, in a way I never had before. I wanted consequences, he continued. I wanted justice. I wanted something that matched what they did to me. You got it, I said. He nodded once. I did. Then he looked around the kitchen, at the empty chairs, at the quiet house, at everything that used to be full. And I lost you. That hit harder than anything else he'd said. Cham. I've never heard you say it like that, I whispered. Because I didn't understand it like that back then. He leaned back in his chair. I thought being right would be enough. Weren't you right? I asked. I was, he said immediately. They lied to me for 13 years. They built a life on something that wasn't real. He paused. They deserved consequences. But I didn't understand what those consequences would cost me. His voice cracked slightly, just enough to make my chest tighten. I got the money, he said. $287,000. A hollow breath. And I lost my parents. I lost my home. And then I lost my daughter. I looked down at my hands because I couldn't look at him. Not yet. I eat dinner alone every night, he continued quietly. I work in the garage at 3 a.m. because I can't sleep in that house. He let out a small, humorless laugh. I have money I don't even touch because every dollar reminds me what it cost. The room felt smaller, tighter, like the walls were closing in with everything he was saying. I'm not telling you this to make you feel sorry for me, he added. I'm telling you because you're standing exactly where I was. I lifted my head slowly. And I need you to understand what comes next if you choose the same path. I crossed my arms, defensive without meaning to be. They deserve it. Maybe they do, he said. And maybe you're right to feel that way. He leaned forward slightly. But that's not the question you should be asking. Then what is? His eyes met mine, steady, unflinching. Do you deserve to become me? The words landed like a weight in my chest. I started, then stopped, because I didn't know how to answer that. You think revenge is going to fix this, he said gently. You think exposing them, humiliating them, making sure everyone knows what they did? He shook his head. It feels right. It feels fair. It is fair, I snapped. Fair doesn't mean it won't destroy you too. I went quiet, because part of me already knew that. I just didn't want to admit it. Everyone will take your side, he continued. They'll call you strong, brave. They'll say you stood up for yourself. A pause. And in 5 years, you'll be sitting in a quiet house, wondering why being right feels so empty. I clenched my jaw. I'm not you. No, he agreed softly. You're not. That should have felt reassuring, but it didn't. Then why does this feel exactly the same? I asked. He didn't answer right away. Yes. Because betrayal is universal, he said finally. It doesn't matter who you are. It hits the same way. I pressed my palms into my eyes, trying to stop the tears that were building again. I'm so angry, I whispered. I know. I want them to hurt. I know. I want them to regret it. I know. His voice never changed, never judged, never pushed. That's the tragedy, he said quietly, that I understand exactly how you feel. The sun was starting to rise, soft light creeping through the window. I wouldn't wish this feeling on anyone, he added, but here we are. We sat in silence for a long time. I understand now, I said eventually. Why you did it? Damn. He closed his eyes briefly. I'm sorry you do. I get it, I continued. The anger, the need to make it mean something. And? He asked carefully. And I understand why you regret it too. That made him look at me again. Really look. So what are you going to do? I stared at the table, at the faint scratches in the wood, at the place where everything had broken once before. I don't know, I admitted. That was the truth, for the first time all night. But I know one thing. He waited. I don't want to be you in 5 years. His breath caught, just slightly. I don't want to be alone in a garage at 3 a.m, I added. Something in his expression softened, like a crack letting light through. You're already smarter than I was, he said quietly. I shook my head. I just have a better example of what not to do. That made him laugh. A real laugh. Short, but real. Can I stay here tonight? I asked. He didn't hesitate. You can stay as long as you want. A pause. This is your home. Home. The word felt strange, but not wrong. I slept until 2 p.m. Deep, heavy sleep. The kind that comes after emotional exhaustion. When I woke up, my phone was a disaster. 167 missed calls. Over 300 messages. All from Ethan. From Ryan. I'm sorry. It didn't mean anything. It was a mistake. Please just talk to me. I love you. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I blocked both of them. Just like that. No message. No closure. No explanation. It felt quiet. Not good. Not bad. Just quiet. When I went downstairs, my dad was making breakfast. Like nothing had happened. Like we were just normal. Morning, he said. Afternoon, I corrected. He smiled slightly. Pancakes? I nodded. We ate at the table, talked about small things. School, baseball, the weather. Normal, for the first time in a long time. Dad, I said after a while. Yeah? I'm sorry. He frowned slightly. For what? For the last 5 years. My throat tightened. For hating you. His expression softened immediately. You had every right. No, I said, shaking my head. I didn't understand. You were 13, he replied gently. You weren't supposed to. But now I do. That silence again, but softer this time. I'm sorry too, he said, for choosing revenge over you. We both broke a little then. Not in a dramatic way, just quietly. I think I want to call Grandma, I said. His head snapped up. Madeline, you don't have to... I want to. For me, I added. Not for you. He nodded slowly, emotion thick in his eyes. Okay. Because for the first time, I understood something bigger than my own pain. If I wasn't careful, this cycle wouldn't stop with me. And I wasn't going to let that happen. I called my grandmother that afternoon. My hands were shaking so badly I had to dial her number twice. Hello, her voice, soft, familiar, older than I remembered. I didn't realize I was crying until I tried to speak. Hi, Grandma. There was a pause, just a breath. And then, oh, baby, her voice broke. I've missed you so much. And just like that, 5 years of distance collapsed into a single moment. We talked for 4 hours. About everything. About Ethan. About Ryan. About the night I found them. About the way it felt like something inside me had been ripped open. And then, eventually, about my dad. He called me last week, she said quietly. I froze. He did? He said he was sorry. A pause. Said if he could undo everything, he would. I closed my eyes. Are you going to call him back? I don't know, honey. Her voice was tired, heavy in a way that made my chest ache. I'm still angry. You have every right to be, I said. Your grandfather had a heart attack last year, she added. During the trial. My breath caught. What? He was in the hospital for 3 weeks. We almost lost him. Guilt hit me like a wave. Grandma, I didn't know. You weren't supposed to. A soft sigh. But it happened. I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. Another pause. But it's hard to forgive something like that. I understand, I whispered. And I did. More than I ever had before. Do you want to forgive him? I asked carefully. She didn't answer right away. Part of me does, she admitted. He's my son. I love him. Her voice trembled slightly. But I'm 70 years old, Madeline. I work 4 days a week just to keep up with bills. I swallowed. Regret doesn't fix that, she continued. Regret doesn't give us back our house. Silence stretched between us. What if, I hesitated, what if I asked you to just talk to him? Why would you do that? Because I knew exactly what betrayal felt like now. Because I understood what anger could turn into if you fed it long enough. Because I didn't want to spend the next 5 years watching everything fall apart again. Because I don't want this to define us forever, I said softly. I don't want to be angry forever. On the other end of the line, she sniffled. You're too good, honey, she whispered. No, I said. I just learned from the wrong example. She gave a quiet, broken laugh. I'll think about it, she said finally. For you. That was enough. For now. Monday. First day back at school. I felt it the second I walked through the doors. The stares. The whispers. The way conversations stopped just a little too quickly when I got close. By second period, it was everywhere. Phones. Screens. People pretending not to look. Someone had posted about it. Of course they had. Half the comments were on my side. Ryan's a snake. Ethan's trash. The other half, it's just a mistake. She should forgive them. I deleted every app off my phone by lunch. I didn't want to see it. Didn't want to live inside it. I was grabbing my tray when I heard my name. Madeline. I froze. Ethan, standing a few feet away. Eyes red. Face pale, like he hadn't slept in days. Can we talk? He asked. No. Please, just 5 minutes. I said no. His voice cracked. I need to explain. Something inside me went very still. I stood up slowly. Every movement deliberate, controlled. There's nothing to explain. People were watching now. Phones out. Recording. You cheated on me for 6 months, I continued. With my best friend. My voice didn't shake. Didn't break. You did it in my apartment. In my bed. You lied to me every single day. I love you, he said desperately. Stop saying that. My eyes locked onto his. Love doesn't do what you did. He started crying. Actually crying. In the middle of the cafeteria. I'll do anything, he said. Just give me another chance. I shook my head. I hope you and Ryan are happy together. We're not, he started. You will be. I picked up my tray. And I won't be around to see it. And then I walked away. I didn't look back. After school, Ryan found me in the parking lot. Of course he did. Madeline, wait. I kept walking. Please, just listen. Move. Hans. We've been friends too long to end like this. I stopped. Turned. We ended when you decided my boyfriend mattered more than our friendship. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? I cut in. Make it make sense. He looked at the ground, like he couldn't even meet my eyes. I don't know how it happened. I laughed. Sharp. Bitter. 6 months doesn't just happen. Silence. When did it start? I asked. What day? He hesitated. Then, February 14th. Valentine's Day. And the irony was so perfect it almost felt scripted. You were working late, he added quietly. He came over and it just... I held up a hand. Stop. Because I remembered that night. The double shift. The flowers I'd sent Ethan. The chocolates. The text he sent me. Best Valentine's ever. I love you. And then he went to Ryan's house. Get away from me, I said. Madeline. If you ever talk to me again, I said slowly, I won't be responsible for what I do. His face went pale. And for the first time since I'd known him, he stepped back. That night, I got a call from Ryan's mom. Mrs. Mitchell. Madeline, honey. Her voice was soft. Careful. I'm so sorry. I closed my eyes. It's not your fault. He hasn't eaten in 3 days, she continued. He says he's ruined his life? He has. A pause. I know you're angry. I'm not angry anymore. That surprised even me. I'm done, I said. There's a difference. Silence. Then, you've been like a daughter to me, she whispered. I don't want to lose you. That hurt more than I expected. I'm sorry, I said, but I can't be around Ryan. A breath. And that means I can't be around you either. I hung up before she could respond. Blocked her number. 2 weeks passed. I spent most nights at my dad's house. We cooked, watched baseball, talked. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. Better than silence, better than anger. I talked to your grandmother, I told him one night. He looked up immediately. You did? She's thinking about talking to you. His eyes filled with something I hadn't seen in years. Hope. Really? I asked her, I said simply. He nodded, swallowed hard. Thank you. Everyone deserves a second chance, I said. Fake. Then added, even you. 3 weeks after everything happened, I saw them again. At a coffee shop. Ryan and Ethan. Sitting together. Laughing. Holding hands. Just like I'd said. I stood there for a moment, waiting. Waiting for the anger. The hurt. The jealousy. Anything. But there was nothing. Just emptiness. They saw me. Ethan's face went white. Ryan looked like he might run. I walked past them. Didn't slow down. Didn't stop. Madeline, wait. I kept walking. He caught up to me in the parking lot. Please, can we just talk? No. It's not what you think. I don't care what it is. That was the truth. I genuinely don't care anymore. He stared at me, like he didn't recognize me. But I miss you, he said. I tilted my head slightly. Dad. No, I said calmly. You miss not being the bad guy. His mouth opened, closed. Move on, I added. I have, he said quickly. Good. I stepped past him. Because for the first time since everything happened, I felt something real again. Not anger, not pain. Freedom. A month after everything fell apart, my grandmother called back. Madeline, honey. Her voice sounded different this time, stronger, like she'd made a decision. I want to talk to your father. I sat up straighter. Are you sure? I'm not promising forgiveness, she said carefully, but I'm willing to listen. A pause. For you. That was all I needed. Saturday night, I drove my dad to their apartment. He was quiet the whole way there, hands gripping the steering wheel too tightly. What if they change their mind? He asked. They won't. What if Grandpa won't even look at me? I glanced at him. Marcus. Then you deal with it, I said. But you still show up. He nodded slowly. Because this time, he wasn't running. He was choosing something different. We stood outside the door for a few seconds before he knocked. My grandfather answered. He looked older than I remembered. Smaller, but his eyes, still sharp. They landed on my dad. And for a moment, no one said anything. Then my grandfather stepped aside. That was it. That was the invitation. We walked in. My grandmother was in the kitchen. She turned when she heard us. And the second she saw my dad, she froze. Then she crossed the room and wrapped her arms around him. I'm so sorry, he choked out immediately, his voice breaking as he held onto her like he might fall apart. So sorry. I know, she whispered. I know. Dinner was awkward, tense, heavy with everything that hadn't been said for 5 years. We sat around the table, the same dynamic, the same people, but nothing felt the same. Halfway through, my grandfather finally spoke. You almost killed me. The room went still. My dad didn't look away. I heard. I had a heart attack during the trial, my grandfather continued. 3 weeks in the hospital. A pause. You didn't even know. My dad swallowed hard. I didn't. What would you have done if you did? My grandfather asked. Silence. And then, nothing, my dad said. The honesty landed like a weight. I was too focused on being right, he continued. I didn't care who I hurt. My grandmother looked at him carefully. We lied to you, she said. For 13 years. We helped your wife hide the truth. I know. You had every right to be angry. I did, he agreed. But I didn't have the right to destroy you. That was the moment something shifted. Not fixed, not healed, but acknowledged. So why did you do it? My grandfather asked. My dad looked down at his hands. Because I wanted you to hurt the way I hurt. Silence. And did it work? My grandfather asked. Yes. Another pause. And was it worth it? My dad's voice cracked. No. That answer hung in the air. Raw. Honest. Unavoidable. I would give back every dollar, he said quietly, if it meant undoing what I did. No one spoke for a long time after that. But something had changed. Not forgiveness. But the beginning of something that might become it. When we left that night, my dad cried. Not like before, not out of anger, but relief. Thank you, he said. I didn't do anything, I replied. You gave me the chance to try, he said. And maybe that was enough. 6 weeks after the betrayal, I got a message from Ryan. I don't know how he got through. A new number, maybe? Madeline, I know you blocked me everywhere, but I needed to say this. What I did to you was unforgivable. You were my best friend, and I destroyed that. I think about it every day. I wish I could take it back. I know we'll never be friends again. I just need you to know. I'm sorry. Goodbye. I read it twice. And I believed him. He was sorry. But sorry doesn't fix betrayal. So I deleted it. Didn't respond. Didn't feel the need to. That night, my dad asked me something. If they apologized, really apologized, would you forgive them? Neds. I didn't hesitate. No. Why not? Because forgiveness isn't automatic, I said. They broke something that can't be rebuilt. He studied me for a moment, then nodded. You're stronger than I was. I shook my head. No, I just chose differently. 2 months after everything, I stopped thinking about them every day. Stopped checking, stopped wondering, stopped caring. My life slowly started to feel like mine again. School, friends, time with my dad, dinner with my grandparents. Awkward, quiet, but consistent. We weren't fixed, but we were trying. And that mattered more. 3 months later, I met someone new. His name was Daniel Reed. He sat next to me in English class. It wasn't dramatic, no instant connection, no overwhelming feeling. Just easy, Conversation that didn't feel forced. Smiles that didn't hurt. Something simple. Something safe. My dad noticed before I said anything. "You seem lighter," he said one night. I smiled. "I feel lighter." "Because of him?" he asked. I shook my head. "Because of me. Because I didn't let anger define me. Because I didn't burn everything down just to prove a point. Because I walked away." 4 months later, I graduated. My dad was there. My grandparents were there. Even my mom. And somewhere in the crowd, Ethan and Ryan. We didn't speak. I didn't need to. After the ceremony, my dad pulled me aside. "I'm proud of you," he said. "For graduating?" I teased lightly. He shook his head. "For choosing differently than I did." I looked at him. "I had a good teacher," I said. He laughed. A cautionary one. Exactly. 5 months later, I heard through mutual friends that Ethan and Ryan had broken up. Apparently it didn't work. Too much guilt. Too much damage. I felt nothing. They destroyed everything for something that couldn't even last. And somehow that felt like its own kind of justice. 6 months later, my dad had dinner with his parents every Sunday. Still awkward. Still healing. But together. One night, my grandfather pulled me aside. "Thank you," he said. "For what?" "For bringing us back together." I shook my head. "I didn't do that." "You started it," he said. A pause. "Are you going to forgive him?" I asked. He looked toward my dad. "Eventually," he said. "Maybe." That was enough. Because healing doesn't happen all at once. It happens in pieces. This is my story. The moment I became my father, and then chose not to be. I didn't expose Ethan, didn't ruin Ryan, didn't burn their lives down. I just walked away. And in doing that, I found something my dad lost. Peace. They have to live with what they did. That's their consequence. I get to live with what I chose. And that's mine. I'm 18 years old. I was betrayed by the two people I trusted most. And instead of destroying them, I rebuilt myself. Because revenge might feel good in the moment, but regret lasts forever. And I chose something different.